Hello there, everyone, and welcome to this week's broadcast. I am Ann LaFollette, and I'm going to try to record this outside. There might be a little bit of ambient noise, but it is a beautiful day here in Northern California, so I just had to come out onto my deck. This week's broadcast is all about 7 limiting beliefs that I want you to bust through and start to think and flip totally on their head. And these in particular are limiting beliefs, I think, for creatives. And I, as you guys know, am a creative. I teach online, I teach surface pattern design online, and I have a high-end coaching program that helps people jumpstart their business online, their creative business specifically online. And I come across these 7 limiting beliefs a lot. And I want to give credit to Michael Hyatt before I jump in, because Michael Hyatt wrote a book called Free to Focus. And I listened to it on audio recently, and it really resonated with me. And he also mentions these 7 limiting beliefs in the book. I will put a link to the book in the description below, but let me jump right in. So the first limiting belief is that I don't have enough time. I'm simply too busy. And that comes up a lot when I am, for example, offering a free workshop, or when in fact I'm selling my online course. People frequently will use time or the lack of time as an excuse. And it's absolutely a limiting belief, because we all can manage our time better. And if something is really important to us, we will absolutely find time for it, whether that's time with our family, whether that's time on a new creative endeavor, or whether that's time that you want to invest in learning something new and gaining new skills. Limiting belief number 2 is, well, I'm not really that disciplined. I'm kind of creative, I'm a little bit all over the place, and so I'm not going to be able to focus. Now that is truly a limiting belief as well, because when you're doing something that you truly enjoy and then you're super excited about, and that you're making progress in, it doesn't require any discipline. You really require discipline when you're doing something that you don't really enjoy. So I want you to think about it through that lens as well, in order to bust through that limiting belief. So the third limiting belief is I am not in control of my time. Now this one is a tricky one. It kind of goes back to just I don't have time, period. But it's actually a little bit more underhanded. And what I mean by that is it's really important to not fall victim to thinking that you don't have any control over your time. You might have a full-time job still. You might also have a huge family and a lot of obligations, and be in a very different stage of life than I might be in. However, that doesn't mean that you don't actually have control. You can take a look at your schedule and you can decide if you want to pursue something that's going to bring you a lot of joy and also potentially income, which surface pattern design can do. You will find time for those small increments of time. And one of the things that actually came up on a retreat I was at this weekend is that if you just do 15 minutes of something every single day, that translates to 90 hours of work on that particular topic. So you can take control of 15 minutes, right? Limiting belief number 4 is that highly productive or creative people are just born that way. And frankly, this one falls into a category that I hear a lot, which is that when creative people take my free workshop and then they are considering buying my online course, they say, well, I can't really do it because I can't draw. And I truly believe that everyone can draw. We are not all going to draw like Picasso, and Picasso didn't draw like Picasso in the beginning either. However, I do think that it takes some effort, and you've got to do the work. I've talked about doing the work in past broadcasts, and that is really important as well. But you're not just born with it. Even creative people are incredibly disciplined when they're actually doing something that they truly care about and want to make progress in. So don't fall into that trap either. Limiting belief number 5 is, well, I've actually tried to do it before and it didn't work. And what I have to say about that one is try a different approach. There's so many different ways to learn surface pattern design in particular, just to use that as an example, that many of my students have taken other courses and those courses didn't resonate with them, but my approach does. And then others might take my course and it doesn't resonate with them, and then they find some other teacher, and for some reason the way that teacher teaches really resonates with them, and they make a big breakthrough. As I mentioned, I was at this retreat this weekend, and one of my students in my free workshop, her name is Sarah, came up to me. Actually, we were sitting across from each other at dinner, and she came up to me and told me, I just wanted to share with you that I took an online program, but I couldn't figure out how. It was actually from one of my mentors, but I couldn't figure out how to make a successful repeating pattern. And I joined your free workshop, and eureka, something about the way you described the steps to get a successful repeating pattern completed inside Adobe Illustrator clicked for me, and I had my eureka moment where all of a sudden I'd been successful and I had my first successful pattern. And I really appreciate the fact that she shared that story with me, because that might happen in reverse for someone else. They might be in my course and it's not clicking for them, and then they find someone else and they take their program and it clicks. So it's really, really important that you don't think that, well, I tried it before and it didn't work, and so I'm just going to give up, because no doubt there is an approach out there that will work for you if you keep seeking it. Limiting belief number 6 is, my circumstances won't allow it right now, but I hope that they'll change. And this one is also a bit of a slippery slope. I think that if you think that your circumstances will change in the future, but you're not willing to actually change them now, they probably won't change. And when you're thinking about making an investment in an online course, for example, especially since today most online teachers like me provide you with lifetime access, there's no reason not to actually dive in now, even if you feel like your budget is tight or that your circumstances don't allow it, because you need to make the change that will allow your circumstances to change. And I think that that's a really important way to kind of flip that limiting belief on its head and decide, well, actually, I'm going to change my circumstances right now, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to learn this because I'm super excited about it, and I can see the income potential that it has for me, and I want to get started on it today. I don't want to wait until next year. And then finally, limiting belief number 7 is, well, I am just not very good at fill in the blank. And in this case, if you're thinking about surface pattern design and learning it with me, I teach it on Adobe Illustrator, it might be, I'm not very good at tech. And I just want to also flip that one on its head, because I am talking to you today and I am 61 years old, and I learned how to use Adobe Illustrator 2.5 years ago. So I was 58 at the time. And if I can learn how to use Adobe Illustrator, which no doubt is a complex program, but I broke it down into baby steps and I just took it a little bit at a time. I very much applied that. I'm just going to do 15 minutes at a time or a half an hour, and sometimes I could do more. But if I could do it, and I am not tech savvy myself, then you certainly can do it. And I would love to be your guide in helping you do it, because I now have many, many hundreds of students who are complete bosses on Adobe Illustrator and are creating absolutely gorgeous work. And one of the things that really brings me the most joy in my life right now, in my business, is meeting students like you who have an incredible amount of creativity, and you just need a guide to help you bring it out into the world, to showcase it, and also to figure out then how you might want to sell it. As you know, I always like to close by saying that I am Anne LaFollette, and it's never too late to create. If you enjoyed this broadcast, please hit the subscribe button and also the bell so you'll be notified when I have another broadcast. Tell your friends about my new YouTube channel. I would love to get some additional subscribers. And as I mentioned, a lot of this came through my interpretation of a section of Michael Hyatt's book, Free to Focus, and I will put a link to his beautiful book in the description below. So I will see you guys all next week, and bye for now.